Alright, so today I'm going to be reviewing my first ever high-powered laser. This is the Sanwu Guardian. This is a very high-powered 1-watt laser, and it is a beauty. This is specifically a 525 nanometer 1-watt green laser by Sanwu Lasers. And let me start by saying the build quality and the first impressions of this package is phenomenal. It is a beautiful, beautiful laser. The host is just downright gorgeous, you know, there's nothing quite like this laser host. You're definitely paying for quality when you order from this company. You know, I've heard a lot from Sanwu and the laser pointer forums about this specific brand, but holding this thing and having it in person is much of a more high quality experience than you could ever imagine, you know, just by watching videos or seeing reviews. The thing has a very nice weighty feel to it, a very durable, solid construction, and everything just seems really well engineered. From the laser itself to the housing, the electrical connections within, it's a very beautiful piece. It's almost like you're looking at a piece of artwork when you see this thing. It's durable and it definitely doesn't feel like something fragile that would break, you know, at first moment's notice. So the beam on this thing, the laser beam is just, it's amazing. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys a few basic well-lit room shots. I'll get into the actual details of the laser beam profile and the diameter and the spectrum and all that later, but I just had to show you guys some shots of this thing firsthand. These are some of the first times I've ever seen the laser in person, and my goodness, the camera does not do it justice. Like a lot of other laser reviewers will say, seeing these lasers on a screen is nothing like seeing them in person. They are absolutely mesmerizing, and this one in particular is a beast. That green color is just brilliant. It's a brilliant, brilliant green. Lights up the entire room. And I can't say enough how impressed I am with the quality of the laser and the engineering that went into this thing. So hats off to Sanwu for this. Now I will be getting into it a bit later. There are a few minor issues I've had, specifically about the power switch. I'll be talking about the power switch a little bit later. But yeah, this is just the overall showcase of the laser itself, and I will be going over the rest of the details regarding that in just a moment. This is pretty much Sanwu's landing page. You'll go to categories. I chose the Guardian series of their lasers. Opted for the regular non-red edition. Just prefer the aesthetics of it. You can choose between a smooth finish or an engraved finish, which I prefer the engraved. It just looks a little more unique, you know, for this style of laser. Very unique housing. You can choose your output power. You have different modes. I went with the multi-mode, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Went with the extended housing for a longer duty cycle, and didn't really opt for the beam expander, which is basically just used to extend the range of your laser. But yeah, the laser's already running me upwards of $400, as you can see, $400 US. So opted not to go for that. I would highly recommend getting the 18350 batteries from Sanwu as well as the charger, because those suckers are really hard to find. And also, of course, cannot forget a very good set of laser safety goggles specific to the wavelength you'll be using. The rest of their page pretty much contains details on how to use the laser and how to unlock it, lock it, etc. for this type of laser. Got the spec sheets, contact info at the bottom. And here you have their number. They're available to contact on WhatsApp and SMS. And then below you also have their email. And yeah, I will go into that into a little more detail afterwards. So really quick, I'd like to get into the basics of the different types of lasers you're able to get here. Now talking specifically about the type of laser you get, whether it be multi-mode or single, there seems to be a slight anomaly with multi-mode beams. You see, you have the regular one, which is just that singular dot that everybody's accustomed to, and then there's multi-mode lasers, which tend to look like a bit of a spectrum rather than a dot, and this is due to the way the laser diode operates. Multi-mode and single mode both have different modes of operation, and you know, on this laser in particular, it's not so much a big deal, but on other lasers, the little lines may be more noticeable. It's not so much of an issue, and you could look more into that, but it's really not that big of a deal. Sanwu is very good at what they do, and it's not really a noticeable problem. Now getting into what really did bother me was the multi-mode functioning on their lasers. The button that is used to control it is quite finicky, and it takes a lot to unlock the laser. By the way, the laser comes shipped locked, and to unlock it, their page basically mentions something along the lines of pressing their power button, letting it rest for 1 second, then subsequently doing 5 half presses of the button, and then waiting 2 seconds, and then turning it on. And I hate to say it, but it is quite a nightmare when it comes to operating the laser, because not only is it difficult to hit those half button presses, they have to be timed just right, and half of the time, maybe 80% of the time, it just fails to work. But when it does work, it's perfect. I choose to leave this laser specifically on on the highest setting because it remembers the last setting you chose, so I tend to leave it on the natural max output power setting, and just it'll return to that every time you power on and off the laser. But yeah, I will say for anyone purchasing from their lasers, I would recommend single mode, because the hassle with multi-mode is very unfortunate. It requires a lot of operation, and yeah, frankly, I thought my laser was dead on arrival, because the batteries I had not only were they weren't preferred for this type of host, but yeah, the fact that I could not power on the laser for about an hour trying different button combinations, you know, it worried me. But yeah, other than that, the product itself, the laser itself, is of extremely high quality. The build is impeccable, and it has a very nice weight to it. It's a very, very strong, powerful laser, so you can't fault the product. However, the multi-mode switch, the activation method, is far from ideal, so I'd rather not deal with that. So now we're gonna do some lights off testing, and we will see just how powerful this laser really is at night. So let me go ahead and put on my laser safety glasses, make sure everything is good on that end. Don't want to lose my eyesight in the dark, or else it'll be darkness forever, which wouldn't be ideal. So, powering on. My goodness, that beam is absolutely beautiful. That is stunning. The entire room is green, and this amount of green energy and light is something you simply just can't capture on camera. This room is literally entirely green, and it's without question that this laser is worth every penny. Quality, manufacturing, power, everything, top notch. That beam is absolutely phenomenal in the dark. Literally nothing quite explains how powerful this is until you see it in person. So there you go, that was my night testing shots. Okay, so now we're going to be covering some basic indoor testing, both at day and at night indoors. The beam is still quite visible, as you can see, even when indoors and my windows are open, my lights are on. Right here, I'm testing out the laser in my room, and it is currently night. However, my lights are at full brightness. At the back here, you have the detachable tail cap. and it's threaded on there really nicely. You have the little contact on the inside and a nice slot for that 18350 battery. Now, I had issues with these batteries. It's really hard to find them. When you're getting anything for this laser, you have to make sure that they are the flat top 18350s and that they are 35 millimeters. And even then, the little plastic covering might be too much to prevent contact, so you have to be aware of that. Make sure you put the battery in positive end first, as is common with their lasers. Absolutely be sure that, even though they have reverse polarity protection, just make sure positive end first. Screw that back in, and at the very front, about the third ring down, is where you can tell that you're able to adjust the lens. From what I've been told, this laser comes with a adjustable G7 lens. Comes with it, so yes, you can adjust that for different beam diameters and useful for burning and things like that, adjusting for distance. But yeah, as you can see, even in well-lit conditions, that beam is still very visible, and that dot is absolutely bright, so I cannot stress enough, use safety glasses. This is a 1-watt laser. It can blind you in less than a second, so it's very beautiful, but you have to exercise caution at all times. But yeah, that's pretty much it for indoor testing. Next we'll move to outdoor. So I'll be shooting this laser over this lake here, about 300 feet to that brick wall. Don't want to drop the laser in because $400 down the drain isn't exactly a nice time. But yeah, let's see how this does. And that is quite a far distance, and it's in broad daylight. So there it is. That is very, very impressive to be able to be that visible in broad daylight at that distance. And I'd say the divergence hitting that brick, it's probably about a foot, which isn't bad at all, 300 feet away. Zoom in a little more for you guys, and yeah, there you go. Not bad. And last but not least, some night sky shooting. Now, when doing this, please be absolutely aware of where you're pointing your laser. I advise using a flight radar application because not only is it highly illegal to shine your laser in the night sky, but it's also extremely dangerous towards pilots. So yeah, that in mind, let me go ahead and show you guys this laser at night. Look at that. That is a very, very beautiful green beam at night. Totally visible, and extends as far as the eye can see. So quite dangerous, but just be careful, keep safety in mind, and make sure you're using your flight radar. And yeah, that's about it for testing. Very beautiful. Alright guys, I'm pretty sure that's the end of this video. Don't have much else to say about the Sanwu Guardian. The only negative things here are just the finicky switch, which also tends to get stuck sometimes, but that's my fault. So just go with the single mode if you'd rather have a more reliable switch. But overall, it still works really well. It's decent enough for me. Very beautiful housing, very beautiful beam, high quality product. So hope you guys enjoyed that video, and it's up to you guys if you want to leave a like. I'm not hungry for likes. This video's mostly for information only, so hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.